Fantastic.
You're 13 rules, man. 304 followers. Moving up a little bit by little bit. Good now.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, bro. And just reach 100 on TikTok yesterday.
Ooh. Success.
Yeah. Yeah. So I finally edit a video that I just had for a couple of weeks. So now I could put in same videos that that we have pulled out on there too.
Nice.
So we're on the way.
Nice. Some good stuff.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, we know. Well, I know. We're live, Captain. We're live.
Cool beans. So yeah, let's get this show on the road. Pleasant, good afternoon and morning, depending on where you're at. Welcome back to another episode of MindHack Moments. It's your boy, MindHack Sack. And you don't know, with me, my dog them, the handsome Twex
Yo. Don't know.
and KG.
Yo,
And the
yo.
ones and twos. One,
Yeah,
two,
yo,
1, 2.
yo.
How are you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Good, nice all eating for me.
Yeah, man.
Late afternoon for you, bro. Early morning.
It's still morning over here.
Yeah, but it's bad over there.
You see me
Bad
send
over
about
here.
three different things before. I was like, what? What is it?
The
I say, how
man say,
you?
how you, yo. I said, no, man, this man can't be more sleepy than me. That's crazy.
Man, oh man. Hey, it'll be rough over here. When my eyes go to sleep is when I go to sleep, so.
Yeah, man.
Telling you
So,
something.
well, speaking of rough, I want to briefly spin the block back to high school, man.
Hmm.
Okay.
High school was really rough, man. Overall.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started out in high school, it was a little rough, man. Like,
Hmm.
for those of you who knew me then, and probably know me now, you know I'm something of a geek who played sports.
Something of a why you had massive something of a
Uh,
geek. Do your thing, big
yeah,
man.
yeah. I used to call myself a hybrid. You check between like a nerd and a jock, that kind of thing. But I think something of a geek that plays sports fits. But anyway, you know, I remember having a really good friend. Like we used to talk every day. But she was really mean, dog. Mean Carolyn her name, boy. You check?
Hmm.
And like I remember a time where like I had an issue and like I like elaborated and like pour my heart out about this issue, my boy. In text.
Oh Lord.
All she had to say was
Okay.
the letter O. No, the
Uh
letter
oh.
O. The letter O, my
The
boy.
man even had the key.
But why is it you tell her you a like her or something? Like you tell her you ain't
Nah,
I gotta say
nah.
wow
It was
with a
like
lot of W's.
something mean she had just do,
Wow.
my boy. Like she was like cool, but like there was just some points where like she was just really insensitive, my boy. And like I remember just like literally just trying to share how I felt about this matter, dog. And it was a sizable paragraph,
Mm-hmm.
and all I got in response was, "Oh,
Yeah, son. That man didn't even give you the key.
I'm not even going to hold you guys, dog." When I see that, "Oh, dog," I break down, dog.
Hmm.
On my mother bed, she ain't there though.
Like crying breakdown?
Yes, dog, 100%.
That's new.
It was insane. It was insane, dog. But I credit her a lot, right? Because I think that that single event spurred me on to psychology, dog. Because after all of that went on, I used to ponder a lot about why people do the things that they do, like why people they behave in a certain way.
Mm.
And as I was like continuing to deal with the situation and try to like make sense of things, I started an activity just randomly one day, my boy, and it helped me throughout the entire school year to vent out a lot of like the thoughts that I would have. Because even back then, like I would find that I would like overthink and like be like super anxious a lot. And it really was a very common thing that I like just did. Like I did it more than homework.
Hmm.
You check.
Yeah.
And that activity is journaling.
Hmm. Hmm.
Great journaling, my boy. Right. So journaling was damn near a lifesaver. Right. Cause like it's just a very good activity, but it's like highly slept on. Cause I think it's boring.
You
You know
think
what I
it
mean?
boring?
Yeah.
I know that fuck boring.
Yeah.
I say that. I say that. I never forget when you like, yeah, man, you just gotta start writing down your you gotta write down your thoughts, man. You gotta get them up. You gotta write them down. You gotta practice different exercises. Yeah, like, man, if this man don't shut the fuck up on my phone telling me about write this fuck, or how is this going to help me by writing this down, my boy? Like, am I tackling the problem? Am I talking to the person or the thing or what have you that's actually causing me strife as to why I gotta write this head down? This won't solve my problem. That I remember being like really frustrated. Like I remember being so frustrated that I have the book right here. I still have this fucking book. And I remember being so frustrated. And I read you like the first three sentences are why I write, my boy. This is like the first page is me battling with this exercise. Like just being like, I don't know why the fuck this man sent me here for the most part. So it goes, so I guess I'm trying something new with this writing in a book thing. Of course my mind is racing, but the minute I sit to write, it feels like there's nothing to be said. Salah a punk man, gonna forget. Can't even more. But yeah, that like it went on to that for like the next. You could see a boy writing a lot, so it's like that page and again more. You know what I mean? So yeah, dog. Like as I continue to write, and I continue to write, I realize it just keep going and it just keep going, dog. You know what I mean? So after like I would say 3 sessions with a book, I was able to get a lot of negative sources out of my environment and onto a paper, and then like a
What a,
lot of those thoughts start to get clear.
what a book title?
They don't have a title. That's how bad the fucking book is. Blank.
Mm.
Blank the book.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, nah. Like initially the exercise was like uh underwhelming. I would say it was almost like I don't even see how this can help. And then as I keep writing and like not talking, I keep just writing. It just start to, for the most part, flow into like random thoughts. Like if you go in there, I have like a rant, like extremely random thoughts, and then it's like I jump back to wherever I was talking about. Uh, Inside of my thoughts, I start to like assess it, you know, and I realize I wrote about death a lot. So that's when I realized like I might be and I ain't write about death in the terms I was scared of it. It was like I was writing about death in the terms I was okay with it. Like almost like I was conceding to it in a sense. Like if it happens, like I'll be okay with that. And then that's when I realized like, yo, I shouldn't be okay with that. You know what I mean? I just got youth, you know what I mean? Just get married, you know what I'm saying? Like they have a lot of things going for me that I should be more appreciative of. And it send me into a different state of mind and start to um, program me or purge me to really like, hey, yo, I need to, you know what I mean? Rethink the way I want to rethink. But the writing process in itself um, started out boring. I would say for like the first time I sit and I just write. And then eventually, or almost like at least for a week, it's like every time I had like a bad feeling, I just go to the book and just start to write it out. So it start to allow me to see my thoughts. I guess it's like when you go back and you watch film, like as an athlete, if you go back and you watch film, you could reflect and you could see all the things you do wrong. You could make those corrections. So that's what it was for me. And even up to now, I write that like 5 years ago because of when I just moved up here um, in Arizona in the States. Everybody, the transition will always be a struggle. So I do that back then, and I would say every 2 years or every year or so, I'd still go back to the book and like read it to see where I was and look at where I am like mentally in the moment. So
Dude, that was a damn good analogy with the film.
mhm,
Um, that was really good. You drop a lot of really great nuggets in how this thing could really just help you, right? So for the folks them that is brand spanking new to journaling for any reason, journaling is basically the practice of writing down your thoughts, feelings, experiences, and even reflections, right? Like that farm is like having a private conversation with yourself. You check it out, where you
mhm,
could you could explore your inner wall without judgment or with judgment,
yeah,
whatever it is you actually want to do, right? And it is really a powerful thing to do, right? Because when you think about your basic dimensions of your inner well-being, the the essential elements are basically your thoughts, feelings, and your behaviors.
yeah,
What you think, what you feel, and what you do, right? And often, when something is going on with you, you can reliably break down what's happening based on those three things and how they're connected with one another and how things were like cycling. So going back with in my case with like the ninth grade, for example, when that event happened where all I received from that girl was, oh,
mm,
I immediately broke down because I felt less than, like my self worth was to the pits.
mm,
I began thinking to myself, like, bro, you really ain't worth nothing. You ain't worth nothing to this person. You ain't worth nothing to low key anybody around you.
yeah,
You check what I'm saying?
yeah,
And I withdrew from folks for a little while, right?
mhm,
So like that created a cycle. I had that feeling, And closely behind that feeling was like my thought of self worthlessness. Because I had that feeling of like despair. And like
Yeah.
those things were like really close together. And it then led me into like withdrawing from people, right? And not really interacting with nobody because I believed like I was worthless. And from me not interacting with people, people interacted with me. That's just how it went, which
Yeah.
inadvertently fed into that existing belief and thought process that see, I ain't want nothing. Nobody ain't talking to me.
Mm.
And it just created this loop that just reinforced itself, a very negative cycle.
Mm.
So journaling, right? Journaling, the first reason that journaling is such a great thing to do is exactly what Johanse just mentioned, like with a film. When you're able to look back at your actions, especially in context with what's going on around you, whether it's like a play or something of that sort, you able to see what it is that you were doing so that you can then course correct in the future.
Yeah.
Journaling affords you this same thing because you point down your thoughts on the paper and you
Mm.
basically seeing what it is that you thinking about, what it is you feeling, and it helps to halt a lot of those thoughts because when you're in that spiral, you're not you're not in the present. You check you in a cosmos that isn't aligned with like where you actually are. It doesn't exactly encapsulate the situation at hand in the
Yeah.
best representative way. And when you're able to put your thoughts down on that paper
Mm-hmm.
and you choose to inquire, like even ask, like, how true is this? It allows you to halt those thoughts that have become so reinforced and automatic that you can begin choosing new things to investigate, new things to be like, well, this ain't true. This, I don't think this is accurate. I have friends, people that talk to me, even
Yeah.
after I kind of withdrew.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, you could design something different.
Mm.
You check it out. So, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
dog,
let me touch on something because I know for men this could be very helpful because we don't
absolutely.
necessarily hold up. Wait a minute.
And I said, absolutely. I said, absolutely.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me get where I gain at.
Hey.
Think you know me by now. Let me get where I gain at. So for men, this can always be like um it can always be very helpful because we don't necessarily vent to people. Like ain't necessarily like something that we want to vent to somebody or talk to somebody about it. But um what is very tough about this is that it seems very much like something a woman would do. Um and of course it's like, yeah, Katie the philosopher, hail up,
Heal up, heal up.
yow to you too.
Yo,
But
yo.
of course I feel like I don't know how to explain it. I guess this is one of those things where probably you to be like, bro, that's toxic masculinity or that's too much or whatever masculinity. But for men, it do feel very much like a very feminine thing to do. You're not going towards your problem. You're not assessing your problem. You're not engaging with your problem. So it feel like, yo, I sit in there, I write in this down, and then it's not going to anybody. It's not going to touch anybody. It's not going to like the people that actually need to hear this, they ain't hearing this. Not even people that could help me. What's the point of doing any of this? You know what I'm saying? And pretty much my question is, how 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 should men approach writing? How should men rethink about writing their thoughts down?
Like, in terms of just like simply getting started.
Yeah, I want to answer this question your wife just said because she posed a really good question, and I know it
Mm,
will come in. She said, why does it seem like something a woman would do? Well, it seemed like something a woman would do because normally women just want to vent. Women don't necessarily want their problem to be solved. They just want to be heard. Men want to solve their problem. If I am in a problem as a man, I don't want to sit there and feel this problem anymore. I want to change it. And most women are very okay with their emotions, and they are okay with going through those emotions at a very high level and feeling those emotions. So that's why it seemed like something a woman would do. That's why even when you look around, you see most women with journals. You don't see men with journals. A lot of men don't have journals, and that's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? A lot of men don't journal as often as a woman would if you compare those stats. You know what I'm saying? And that's a blanket statement or a generalization because I don't have those stats. But nevertheless, I think we all could just through commonality and just looking at the world as it is, men often don't journal. We barely to talk to our friends about the problems that we're going through. So to then actually sit and talk to yourself about it, that's too much, man. That's too much. So that's why I say most women would. But back to you, Kefren.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you, my boy. Right? Cause like,
Before you start, take a second to think. Big Dog Deshaun Webb, our top number one follower and commenter, is inside of the party right now. Just letting you know.
no
So the
time.
thing shaking and ain't breaking. But yeah, go on,
Yeah,
go on,
but
Kev.
yeah, bro. I would agree with you there. Cause like, when the first of all, a woman is who I get the idea from to begin with. A woman on a TV show.
Fact.
Um, there was this show. I it was a cartoon. It it had Ginger in the name. So I don't remember the name, but somebody in the chat might probably remember.
As told by
Uh,
Ginger.
yes, 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 yes,
That's
yes,
crazy, dog.
I
yeah.
gotta say
That
is
so like
wow
Crazy.
with a lot of
I'm
W's.
pretty sure that shows
Wow.
like that
Hmm.
just featured like this girl writing, and it would
Yeah,
always start out, "Dear Diary,"
yeah.
right? And they would just document like they and like just talk about whatever it is they talking about, which is very funny that my wife would ask this question. Shout out to my wife, because when I told her about like this stuff, that's exactly what she used to say to tease me and so. But
Mm.
it wasn't like no actual like
Yeah,
serious
yeah.
thing. Yeah, check. But like,
Nothing.
yeah, but yeah, dog. Like that. I have heard Dear Journal. Like I have grown up with the idea that men refer to it as journals and women refer to it as diaries and whatnot. But like the large concept of being able to like just write down your thoughts and like vent it out to yourself, that has largely come from women. And all of that is part of like our societal expressions and establishments of how the respective sexes or genders express and or are allowed to express their emotions. So like
Mm.
for a lot of guys, that pathway simply went in the cards. It wasn't even an option on a fork in the road. You check.
Yeah.
And so a lot of guys naturally would be apprehensive, not only because that pathway is typically seen as feminine, but the pathway was also restricted. Those are two things happening at the same time. You check it out. And so
Why would it
my
be restricted though?
no, like because like if like restricted in the form of like if somebody see you writing in something like that there, the man, what you doing? You's a man, you ain't belong doing this here. Like that kind of
Ah,
restricted I talking about.
okay,
You check.
okay, okay,
And that
okay.
Yeah,
has
toxic
happened to me
thing,
before.
that toxic environment. People
Yeah,
don't want to hear.
that has happened to me before. You check. But fortunately, I was already in a place where, frankly, I didn't give a fuck. And I told that person as such. You check, because, like, how I started out writing in my journal, I kept it a secret for that very reason. Couldn't explain it in as detail as I can now, but I
Mm,
knew that, like, it was something I did not want others to see. And
mm,
so that's kind of like the first part of, like, my answer to your question earlier, that
Mm-hmm.
Should you so choose, gentlemen, write it in secret. Don't leave nobody know. It's your task, right? Don't leave nobody know. You don't have to let nobody know until you're comfortable. And so nobody knew about my journal for at least 2 years until one day I became so comfortable that I was just writing it out in the open, like um like I just started writing it, and like if somebody were to kind of ask me, it was like, yeah, I write in notes, and that would be that. You check.
Mm-hmm.
But then one day, like in like near the end of 11th grade or something, like some folks that like were like my classmates and like acquaintances or something like that saw me writing, and like I straight up told them like, yeah, man, I write in a journal. And that some of them is who tell me like, man, what you doing, man? Nobody, you a man, you belong writing that there. I'm like, well, you could not write if you want, but I'm gonna continue writing. And I continue what I was doing, you check, because the second step to that was I became comfortable enough that I established a very strong axiom, which is a basic assumption that I regard as an automatic truth. And that is, I reserve the right to document my feelings. I reserve the right to document my thoughts, independent of what anybody going to say. Because while this activity might historically be associated with femininity, it
Mm-hmm.
is not exclusive to that. It only appears like that because of thousands of years of
Toxic.
applying this thing as such.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
check. And
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
yeah, so like once you start out in secret, cool beans, until you reach a comfortable place with the help of this journal, to where once you are able to really see like, yeah, my feelings are my own, and I could process them in any healthy way I choose, your standards will be unshakable, because that is a fact. It is as much of a fact as one plus one equals two. You check. And it became the bedrock. And
Yeah.
so my advice is to like start in secret, start in a place that's comfortable for you, and just continue building up your comfort until you're able to establish a bedrock thought, an axiom.
Hmm.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. So Deshaun Webb, don't know my boy coming. He said this is his topic. We want you to tell us a little bit more
Yeah.
inside of the well, help us out a little bit more inside of the chat as to why is this your topic. Nigencia coming. She said you guys have been talking about putting thoughts to paper. But we live in a time where writing with a pen and a paper is a lost art. Typing has become king. Doesn't matter if you jot these thoughts in a note or in an app, and versus a notebook or a piece of paper. Are the benefits the same? That was a question. Now, for me
I believe it's the
personally,
same.
you believe it's the same.
Hmm.
I don't believe it's the same. I believe it's two different things. Um, I believe that there's memory in actually writing. There's a lot of memory in actually writing. You never heard, like, even when you were younger, if you're studying for a spelling test, like, you want actually spell the word out too, rather than just spelling it verbally or orally. You actually want to write it down and spell it as well, because it would help you remember. It's like using all of those come on, Kefra, help me out. Like
just
those
just different sensory faculties in a way.
yeah, the five, almost like the five senses alone, or something like that. Yeah, I
But
mean, so
if you typing it out, you doing the same thing? Cause I typing it out in my notes, So it's this is like the only difference is physical
yeah.
paper versus me typing the same thing that I would type in my notes. Like I ain't saying it or doing a voice note or anything. I writing it down still, but it's just where it's now on a digital note instead of a notebook.
Well, for me, typing is very un untethered. So if I type something, I can't remember what I type. I can remember a concept of it, but I can't remember what I type. But if I write something, I can remember myself writing it. So that's just me. You know what I mean? You might be different, but that's just me. Like, writing it down is more important for me. And then writing it down too to add injury to insult, in my opinion, is a lot of work because I is a lazy man. So I mean, you try and do all of that because then I got to write it, then I got to read it because I write in it, and then I got to sit with that. You know what I mean? And accept those thoughts. Kefren, what do
Yeah,
you think
I
of that?
think. Yeah, no, I think like it ultimately is like whatever you most feel native or natural to. Because I actually read a study on this once before, and like it was mentioning that like writing feels like it's more natural. It gives you more of an advantage to like engage like a lot of those same faculties we were talking about. But like I also wonder if that's probably because this study was done kind of like in the middle, right? Of like where we would be moving from writing a lot to typing a lot. Because I wonder, like 20, 30, 40 years from now, when this is 100% normal and we might have people that don't know how to write at all, I wonder, like, how they might feel about that same activity. Because I don't know, I'd still journal to this day. And I especially was journaling heavy when I was when I moved to Austin and I was just at home before I started working. I started working, by the way, everybody. But yeah, right. So like I would just be typing,
Hmm.
and it would be like cool. I it's easier for me to like see and absorb. I felt better writing, but I also can't understand my handwriting sometimes, and so it was harder to read back. In high
This
school, it was much worse.
this
It,
man used to be pointing himself in a genjutsu
yeah,
dog.
yeah, dog. So like with the typing, I do find it easier because I can go back and think. But ultimately, it is whatever is most native to you in in terms of your preference. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, I see a real good comment inside the chat by Kaden, the philosopher. He said, my dad always encouraged us to write a journal as a way to document our personal lives. Um, just dying itself, to document our personal lives and family history. Just dying itself is like pretty ideal, and it's real ideal that it came from a dad. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
I don't want to underplay that because it's a reality that we live in. You know, the reality that we live in is most of those emotional aspects do come from your mom. You know, they don't necessarily always come from your dad. And I think his father posed it in a way where it didn't seem like, oh, write about your feelings. It came off like, yo, document your personal life and your family history. Like even just the way how it's fed to you. It's fed to you more like not something subjective, but something objective. Like this is a task, my guy. You know, I need you to document your life for future purposes. You never know what's going, you never know how famous you're going to become. You don't know the challenges you're gonna meet that if you give it to your kids or, somebody younger than you, they could read through it and see how to get past something that they may be going through in their life. You don't know the type of families you're gonna meet that may pass themselves, and documenting those individuals, times you had with them could be very valuable, whether it may be for a eulogy at the funeral, or even to something a bit more fortunate for a wedding that the individual might have to recall and that experience with that individual. So Kaden, the philosopher, big dog, your pops is a G. He was definitely performing before his time, and you got a good one. So don't let that
yeah,
slip.
yeah. No, definitely shout out to their dad, man. Like they definitely have that out there. Um, uh, I would talk to my dad about like
Mhm,
my journal and stuff, and he was also quite accepting, much like
mhm.
Caden's dad, like that being able to engage your emotions and just being okay with it and not adhering to like super rigid masculine norms. My dad was very encouraging in being able to explore your emotions. And what I especially appreciated with him is that he also always enabled me to engage like my thoughts as well,
Yeah.
because those two things together really used to help me spur on how I can move forward.
Hmm.
Yeah, check it out. So
I would say one of the big things with my father, not to like this ain't like a
no, you
competition
good.
or anything.
No, you
I
good.
mean, yeah. But one thing with my father is he wasn't big on like, that extended emotional intelligence. But one thing he always urged us to do is speak your mind, which is why I am the way I am, like today, where it's like I would, if I feel a way about something that you're doing to me or that you're telling me or that any type of like, I am not afraid to tell you how I feel, what I mean, or tell you why I think. But I've learned as I gotten older, like it's good to get off of you, but then when you put our energy out into the world, or you put a, what I mean, because normally it was about if something is bothering you, speak up. Don't just stay there and be quiet. But I think there was a lot of half to it, whereas like kind of digesting and understanding your feelings a little bit more before you just divulge them. And then also not only speak up about things that bother you, but speak up about things you know, that makes you happy as well. Express that extreme happiness or that extreme gratitude as well. So those were a few things. I mean? So big up for all the dads that are already out there doing it big, you know what I mean? I see the heart by Sarah. Give thanks, Serafina, in the chat with us. We
Yeah,
see
we
you, we
out.
see you. Deshaun Webb, don't know my boy start coming in. So this is gonna be a long read. So hold on, Kefren. Hold on. He said he start out. Half the self books we read is based on these writers, journals, and notes. We sit, we write business plans, why we said we write business plans, ideas. Why do we write it out? To help develop clarity for decision making, etc. We need that in our everyday lives. I agree with the sensory. Um, I agree with the sensory take, but the benefit of typing it in this digital age is a ease of access. You have the journal app on Apple that you can access across platforms, etc. These apps allow you to add pictures, voice notes, etc. The gripe of some is they don't want to write, but journaling is not exclusive to writing. Can be video or voice note, which is what Nigencia were hinting at. She was hinting at, I think you guys sticking this thing in a box and it can be molded to mend into your everyday life. That ain't something you have to sit and do. It's not like you're back in kindergarten and you have to sit and do this exercise. It's something that should be ever moving and ever fluid into your day-to-day process to help you, you know, better clear through a lot of the hevel that you might be going through in your life, which
In other,
makes sense.
because in other words, instead of it being like a boring activity, you could end up
Hmm.
turning it into something you enjoy eventually. I mean, it might seem a little boring and off in the beginning, but once you find your niche, once something that you like, you know, a pattern, or like you said, you could put pictures, you could put anything in there to spruce it up, to where you can always go back and be like, okay, I like how I feel doing it this way, and
Hmm.
how about it?
I actually didn't know you could have do all of that voice notes and pictures. I didn't like it's like but you ain't put it together, you know what I mean? Like of
Yeah.
course you use the note in the app in the phone to like take quick notes and what's not. But I ain't never put it together. Like you could really journal throughout your iPhone. You could capture moments like in that moment because your phone always on you. Shit. It's like a digital
Yeah.
leash.
Yeah, that's what I was
So
saying.
Yeah.
It's like I would write when I used to write, most of the time it'd be like music wise and stuff, but that
hmm
was my way of venting, you know.
yeah.
And my notes on my phone, I have a lot of notes that just sitting there. I probably haven't put it
hmm
out because it's like at the end is like probably some of the stuff I would say, it's just more venting. But after I vent,
Yeah.
or let that emotion flow, and just by typing it or writing it out, it's like I feel better
hmm
after that. Like it's cool, like it ain't gonna fully heal the situation. Like I feel like it's still a follow-up process after writing, which I don't
hmm
think Catherine had reached yet. But I know writing it down is just the starting. But you were mentioning like it ain't going to nobody else. It's just us. But I think that's just the first phase. Like at the end of the day, writing it down. If I wanted to write down or vent or like put my emotions down, on those things. If I was to have a
Mhm.
conversation with or interact with anybody that made me write or had that feeling, I don't think the conversation would have been the same. I think because of
That's true.
writing it down, it put me at a cooler level where now having a conversation is like, yeah, you still kind of be annoyed, but it's like I ain't even like it don't even really like get me to that point where it go off script or like
Hmm.
out of control, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No. No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah,
Mm.
like and like a lot of like what you just mentioned, especially comparing like the differences between like you writing it down versus like talking to somebody and stuff. Like it definitely could present different differences depending on like a lot of factors, right? If it's like the person, it could also depend on how good the man is at listening and reflecting, much like we talked about in the last episode. So if I ain't watched that episode, go ahead and watch it after we done with this. Yeah, you check.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even with the journaling and stuff, it could also depend on how good you are at identifying or like capturing your thoughts on paper, which will come from that practice of doing it and repetition and whatnot. And so it really has a wealth of benefits and like no losses and like circling back to what Deshaun mentioned, like he bring it into like business. Like this thing ain't limited to really anything. Like I could actually recall somebody calling me my boy. Shout out to my dog, my old roommate Chase, right? Uh, every time every time like we like chop it up, he'll always tell me about something new that he doing, you check. And like he was telling me about like a commendable acquisition that he made that he was like he wanted to make for a bit.
Hmm.
And like the man tell me like, yeah man, I gotta thank you for that, man. And I like what I do. You check. And
Hmm.
the man was talking about like a conversation that we had years ago in our suite. Because we'd just be having just random conversations. Like me, he, Cody, Jarrell, all these men. And like I had mentioned, like, if you want to start like changing something, you need to start by writing that shit down. Like if you want to like actually make some kind of change, we always talking about this, but like it's like too fleeting. We never actually like remember it. There's no actual way to like capture it and like follow up on it. Especially if you're a person that has like generate new ideas and want to act on that. Like there's no like kind of like discipline or self management.
Yeah.
Writing it down and being able to go back to that stuff will absolutely help you. And the man tell me that he kept that with him all these years. That like that thing that he was looking for. He like just wrote down like his specific plans. He wrote down his feelings about how bad he wanted to get this thing, and he wrote down like the steps and like what exactly how much he needed to save on like a monthly basis to get his thing. And the man walk up to it
That's
and
Chase.
yeah,
That don't
yeah.
seem like Chase at all. But yeah, that's major.
Hey,
Dog. Like
hey,
those are
a
major
lot.
steps.
You know how a lot of leaders be with like moving in silence and stuff. It ain't nothing that like
Mhm.
he advertise any place. He just tell me. That's why I said, but it's a commendable
Yeah.
acquisition. And the
Very.
man with like the little bit of resources he had, he get done.
Mhm.
And the man credits the act of writing it down as how he was able to get it. So this thing,
Mhm.
this no matter what you're doing, no matter where you're at, writing it down, there are no losses, dog. You are
Yeah.
capturing it, and it's like you get lightning in a bottle
Facts.
that you
No
could
doubt.
just go back to and like continue acting on. And that's especially important in our age where there's so much stimulation, so much things happening where where it's increasingly difficult to focus on one thing.
Yeah.
You check?
No doubt. It's kind of funny you said up because your wife just posted in the chat. She said this is the second or third time she getting sick of us. That's what she said. When a woman said this is the second or the third time, that means you're full of shit and you're repeating the same thing over and over. But she said this is the second or the third time it's been described as venting. I feel like because venting has such a negative connotation, it makes the act of journaling seem more trivial or unimportant.
I
Just
think that was
to
based on what I was saying. Cause I okay,
yeah.
cause so Why I say I rather use venting because I feel like um whenever I did do any act of writing, it was more of a I need to get something off my chest. Not saying that that's the only reason to journal, because Catherine just mentioned Chase. Chase was doing it
Yeah.
in a positive light. So I
Mm-hmm.
would use venting because again, that was my space where when it came to like a sad emotion, angry emotion, annoyed emotion, but that's not always the case. Like I've placed business ideas, I've placed all kind of things in my notes where it's like this is what I'm gonna do for the future. This is what KD Design is going to get 2020, such and such.
Yeah.
But just overall, when I used to write more frequently, that's just where the space I was at, more just trying to
Mhm.
get something off my chest. But yeah, no, that's not the only reason to journal.
Yeah. Nah, I
Yeah,
could remember. I could remember. And it's a perfect point. It shouldn't only be used as like this tool just to exhort negative emotions. Because I can remember, like, I think similar to Chase, I had test one of my biggest victories in my life in terms of purchasing my home. Um, I remember I used to be obsessing over it. Like I used to obsessively like write like I never used to write my feelings about it, but I would jot down numbers. I would overanalyze floor plans. So I'd be drawing floor plans inside of a book to see exactly how I want my house to look and, envisioning myself living inside of it. And then, like, really obsessing over the numbers to make sure I understand the interest rates and what's the best interest rate and how to gain and what's the best time and how the numbers could work to be super beneficial for me and my family. You know what I mean? Where I don't have to pay a high mortgage. So, like, I obsessing over the matter. And I remember, like, I could remember scrolling through this next orange book that I used to do that in. That was like my positive book. So in that orange book, I would have like stories and ideas and business moves and thought processes and tasks that I have to do. So that's the book that I used to like really keep on my desk because that was like my functioning book and my vision book. You know what I'm saying? And I can remember scrolling through the book and I'd see a page and I'd be like, oh, look at that. This is when I was planning out how I was gonna break down our mortgage and how much I was gonna pour as a down payment so I get the numbers to be. And then I remember I scroll again and I see the same formula just in a different way. And I was like, crackhead man, I saying the same thing over and over, just in so many different ways like. But I guess what it was me planning and seeing like, just over, kind of putting that into the atmosphere constantly. Like even if it don't happen this way, it could happen that way. If it don't happen this way, it could happen that way. If it don't happen, yeah, I mean, just giving so many scenarios to my success. So yeah, she do have a point.
yeah.
Well,
All of that.
go ahead.
I was just going to say all of that day is part of like problem solving, right? Like
Hmm.
journaling, like there is no problem in utilizing journaling for venting, and it's especially an important thing to like highlight, especially for men, given that we know that emotional expression is one of the major growth areas that we as a group stand to benefit from. But
Yeah,
like, yeah, it also like what KJ alluded to, it also is like a very nice precursor to continue your personal development because not only is it a great way to reduce stress, but it's also a great lens of of fostering your creativity, right? It is a great lens of problem solving, like what you mentioned, because you were basically going around exploring different stuff and you began to notice a pattern when you went back and you were reading different things and it's like, oh, this pattern I'm emerging a lot. This is something that I can definitely utilize, right? And it can also help you to goal set because with
yeah,
these things that you are picking up, it provides you an opportunity to begin setting the specific steps that you want to do, much like what I mentioned with my dog Chase, right?
yeah,
He capitalized on his thoughts about what it is that he wanted. He was able to break down that specific stuff that he wanted to accomplish into smaller action steps, which
Yeah.
made it more digestible because you ain't just here thinking with all these big ball of spinning thoughts. You just break it down like, all right, I'm gonna do this small action today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I checked that day off. Let me do this next action. And then 10 actions later, you find that you do like a big chunk. You know what I mean? Just like writing an essay. You don't want to start out thinking about the essay at large. You want to break it down maybe by what is pages, break it down by paragraph, break
Mm-hmm.
it down by sentence,
Mm-hmm.
break it down by what words you're going to use, and even the letters them. You check?
Facts.
And journaling helps you to do that, even within its own activity.
Facts. Hey yo, want to take a pause for the cars? We get some goats in the chat right now. Now me
Yo,
want to pick up Sherwin Williams, our very
really
own
good.
Billy Goat from the Gaza, you know what I mean? Give thanks for joining us or coming through. Deshaun, our top fan. You know what I mean? He
Yes,
say
sir.
every aspect of life is affected by our mental, emotional health. If we want to truly meet success in life, we need to treat it with such importance, which which hones even more fact to what you were just saying, Kefren. And also what Chase do. I'm still very impressed by Chase, by the way. If
Yeah.
nobody don't know who Chase is like the most jack person you can meet. You expect him to seem you expect him to seem unintelligent because of how athletic he is. But
Yeah.
and
Like the
and also
stereotype.
yeah, stereotype, like how athletic he is and then how much goals he'd get, you expect him to just be like, use a dud, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that dog, like, and even in the sense of just talking to Chase, if you talk to him, like most people, you'll see a deeper sense to who he really is. But of course, he a little goofy and he funny bad. But nevertheless, that aspect of that stance he took, and if he took that when we were in college, I wasn't even at that point that I could even go to a piece of paper or jot down tasks and
Oh,
stuff
after
like that.
college.
So oh, that's great. So I feel a little bit better about myself. It seemed like everybody was at the same pace in college. Everybody was immature. Everybody was, you know what I mean, less than.
Yeah.
We were just shit in a cup back then. So that's great. Like glad to hear that. But yeah, no, that seems like everybody growing exponentially. Nigencia said, when can we expect some mind hack journals for men? I think write that shit down would be a good title for it. Sounds like some much is being created and some
Mm-hmm.
ideas are being brought to
Girlfriend,
the
notate that.
platform.
Journal that down. Write it down. Write it
And
down.
Mm,
hey, look,
uh,
you want to know the best part about this? You have everything you need when it comes to making sure that you could put together something nice like that. You get KJ, who's a mastermind of marketing and any
Shout
type
out
of
KJ
design, you
Design.
know what I mean? Shout out KJ Design. And of course, you have myself, who can help you set up a shop on your website that you
Shout
currently
out
have,
Johan C. Henley.
And this
ksaki,
man write books and
ksaki.com.
publish books himself. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And how to write books and publish books. So if it's something that you want to publish, I wouldn't say publish it. I would say put it out as a journal and
You know,
allow
my
it to,
sister did that
sell.
once. She did like she'd make a design, and
Hmm.
I think like on Canva or so, and then she
Hmm.
got like something through Amazon, like affiliate, where she could have like it's like a calendar for the year, but I was like
Yeah.
2022, I think, and she got it published. It was more just for her. Then the next step was how to push it out so people could buy
Hmm.
it and use it. But yeah, Amazon does. I feel like have that
Provide that.
connection provider, yeah, where you make the
Yeah.
design and then they put it up
They
on it.
already
But
have templates and stuff like that and such what's not. And they have templates in different platforms too if you need something to start helping you create um that generation of that idea. Um Amen. I love your wife for you, dog. I just want to let you know that because yeah, she ain't trying to hear all of this talking intelligent from you. She trying to yo, you can put
Yeah.
this thing to paper or not? Or you can just keep talking about it. Yeah, man. I fuck with that
No,
heavy.
shout out to my wife. Like if
Yeah.
if I did not have her in my life, all of this stuff would not be here at all. So
Hell
shout out
yeah,
to
that's
my
what.
yeah,
wife.
just
Nah, James, you
keep
James.
doing what you're doing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
keep you on the
Yeah.
toes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. We gotta love the wives. We gotta trust the wives. So Deshaun Webb journaling. even increases productivity. I kept track of when I feel my best, reflected on that information, and created a work schedule based on that. That's very intense. I actually never
Never thought about that there.
yeah,
Like
nah.
that there.
Ain't something I would do though. It's not something I would do. I think I think it takes too much from me. Like I am very realistic with the type of person I am. I'm very lazy. I do not like to work hard. I like to work smart. As a street man, my boy. I'm not in the business of doing all the work. I am in the business of finding ways to get the work done. You know what I mean? If needs be that I have to do a little bit of the work, that's fine. Or if I have to do all of the work, that's fine. But I always looking for a way for things to be quicker, faster, efficient, easier, and impactful. So,
Wait, so what are you talking about? Like that you wouldn't do?
so he said like keep track of when I feel my best and
Oh,
reflect
that?
on the information and create a work schedule based on that. I seeing
Oh, the work schedule part.
Yeah, I seen like, but I think it's amazing. I think that's something I could do like for my business. Like I keep track of how I score my leads, where I score my leads from, you know, how profitable it was, what was my margins in certain areas of social platforms, and then I schedule those things to operate based on that. That's more objective. That's something I'll do for sure. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of like that emotional aspect, that's like I don't know, man. I kind of just move ad hoc when it comes to that emotional aspect and the
Hey, never
emotional
say
part.
never, Hansi. Once upon a time, this exact thing you're saying right now is the exact thing you used to say about the journaling in general. And
You
look at what
got a
you
whole
put out.
book, my boy.
You got a
Car
whole
book.
book. You check?
Wait,
So
wait,
I
wait,
just
wait.
saying,
Nah. I ain't gonna diss me like that. Fuck, it still got a lot of blank pages in this thing.
No, boy, it's a good bit. You know, a car
no,
book.
but the point is, years ago, this same rhetoric that you have was geared towards journaling period when you had 0 pages.
You get
You
about
check?
20.
So I
Yeah,
just saying, never say
where's
never.
Zelon? Where's Zelon when you need him? Zelon, you in the chat? Zelon. Where's Zelon? Somebody call Zelon. Because I don't like the way how you trying to prove your point here. We need
It's
a
not
devil's
about a
advocate.
point to prove, dog. It's about celebrating growth and change. This man is at it again, KJ.
All the time. But try say you used to say this and you change your views. So never
Yeah,
say never. Because you might say
but
this now and then down the line, I can't, yeah, but I schedule
yeah.
it out. I put,
No,
listen.
And the man
never give
already
in.
got a productive
Never give
process
in.
going through. The man already got a productive process with the fact that you scoring all of these different things. That's already a productive thing you're doing, dog.
Nah,
That is just another step.
Dad. Don't give in to it, Dad. Stay negative. Don't give in to it, Dad. Stay negative. Stay behind. Don't give in to it, Dad. But yeah, man.
Mm,
Yeah. Nah. It makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
But
for sure.
yeah, still never. You know what I mean?
Hey, dog.
Nigeria
Hey,
asks
dog.
why did
This,
you take it as a
cause,
diss?
cause
Why
the
you
thing
never
is,
used to come to the Gaza when I was
Oh,
the
God.
RA? Then you'd understand why I take it as a diss.
By the
Negativity.
time by the time she came, you already graduate, dog.
Oh yeah? Oh,
hey,
I
Yeah,
didn't know.
bro.
Nigel,
Yeah,
one thing you just gotta know, this is just Hansi. This is just Hansi,
yeah.
straight out. Like, he go
Yeah, man.
always feel somebody attacking he or something. Boy,
You gotta stay on guard, dog. You get catch your hair slipping, you're gone, dog. It only take a few seconds and you're gone. Dog. So you gotta stay on guard with everything, but you gotta stay dangerous out there. These men out there trying to turn you soft. These men out there trying to get you doing emotions and filling out journals and doing all kind of worksheets and breathing exercises and them heck. Nah,
but
nah.
then he gonna be back there. Yeah, let me write down this.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
gotta let it out. You gotta
yeah.
let it out. I can't nah. You can't you can't bring that around the kiddos, man. You can't bring hey, what? What is wrong with your wife? She is
Bro.
right, but take that
Wow,
back.
she said Gaza was ghetto. Wow.
All right, we're
She
losing the
said
plot.
middle oh yeah. She said
We're losing the plot. She
yeah,
bugging.
we losing the plot. Yeah, she bugging. She tripping,
Yeah,
tripping.
Yeah,
she
She
bugging.
Beverly.
tripping.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
but
yeah,
no worries.
yeah, I mean, can't bring that around the kiddos, man. So you gotta separate it. But you see, around my dog them, I could be as toxic as I want. That's why I love it. That my little playground. Yeah. But around the kids, you gotta make sure you're bettering yourself, you know what I mean? Getting yourself where you need to be. Deshaun Webb say it's like telling yourself you're not a morning person and deciding not to do heavy tasks in the morning. Huh. Hmm, hmm.
Got it.
So
Yeah,
wait,
because if I
Captain, your
okay,
your wife kind of, yeah, it makes sense. It's like because if you're telling yourself you're not gonna do it, then you're not gonna do it. But your wife and her loosen slap and no go that she said you about to go and journal about this same thing after this podcast.
is
That's
that
true.
true?
Like about like like
Wait.
Wait.
I mean,
Do you
okay,
think,
now,
Adrian?
now, now, now answer.
like about like my experience with the podcast. Like yeah, like how the day went, how everything went well, how everything was good. Like I
You are clown. So you about to do that, man? You about to journal about it? Yeah, but we here, we experience what you got journal about. What kind of madness is?
You gotta write it
yeah,
down. It's
hilarious. Man.
positivity. You know,
Yeah,
this
me no
episode
wrong with it,
3.
man.
You know, this is
I glad
episode
your wife and yeah.
3.
I glad your wife and him. So I glad
It's
she in
all a
here
part of
coming up.
gratitude, dog. It's all a part of gratitude, my
This
boy.
he
When you
lying
able
to
to,
you. This man in here writing inside of his journals about how we messing up his
Oh,
podcast,
she
my
said
boy.
she mean
Yeah.
you, Johansi, not even
Oh me?
Kev. Yes, you. Whoa, that was a whole plot twist there. Lucky face, lucky face, lucky face. Cause he passed. Look, look.
Me? Where my wife is? Where she is? Yo, come inside this chat. Tell her man about who I is. I a bad man. Bad man don't write down things.
hey,
Bad man don't write.
but
Pull back up the book, pull back up the book,
Wait, what? What
pull
book?
back.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
all
If
right,
anybody
let's
want to know,
let's get back on the train tracks,
Alright, let's
right?
get back on the tune track.
So when when it come to like just getting started, right?
mm,
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people, like you mentioned earlier, Johan, say like when it like it's something you want to do or even need to do, but then as soon as you put on that book and you about to put pen to paper or fingers to keyboard, your
Mm-hmm.
mind all of a sudden go blank. Everything that just go behind the curtain, like nope, we're not here. And so one of the things that you can do is actually develop prompts, right? Because prompts is going to help you to jumpstart whatever it is you want to talk about,
Give
right?
me an example about a prompt. Give me an example.
What are you grateful about today?
Ah, that's what you mean.
What is your biggest accomplishment this week?
Mm.
What are you struggling with right now?
You.
What are your goals for the next month? What are you looking forward to?
Not talking to you.
Cool beans. Write out all of that there. You check. So like those are just examples of like prompts. They have they give you an anchor to focus on and like this is what I gonna like just talk about. And there's kind of like a formula I've been thinking about in my head to kind of encapsulate like the style of what you want to do. Still in
Mm.
development, but for now we're gonna call it the lie method. LIE, right?
Hmm.
And basically it begins with L, laying it out or laying it down. Like write, like literally write or type without worrying about like anything like grammatical errors, punctuation errors, or anything like that. Right? Just write, free write,
Yeah.
right? After you finish, because you could do it for any period of time. It'll typically start out at like 15 minutes or so. Even set an alarm to like help to keep it focused.
Mm-hmm.
You write it, you lay it all down, you lay it all out in that 15 minutes or whatever. The next step after that is inquiry. That's the I, where you go back and you just read everything that you've read in a very appreciative manner. Like, this is what I have to say about this situation. Let me investigate. Let me see what's going on.
Yeah.
All right. And then that leads you to E, evaluating it, all right?
Mm.
Where you are now deliberately like picking it apart, like what are some of the highlights that I found from this year? What are some of the major pain points I kind of pick out? What are some turning points? What are some opportunities for me to do something different? Right. And then you kind of rinse and repeat with that there, because once you find out, all right, this is what I could explore further and do differently, then those are the ingredients that you could use to begin problem solving or goal setting, exercising your creativity, anything like that, right? Because you've now suspended those key things that you want to focus on,
Mm-hmm.
and you could action on it.
That actually makes sense, and that's a much more palatable method for men. I think it's much more digestible. Like when you pose it to a
We look.
man, you don't feel like just journaling. You feel like you actually like solve your problems for the day, or put your problems down for the day so you can start to map them out and how to solve them for tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What you were
Yeah,
saying, KJ?
No, I just watching the acronym. It's like, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
it's like which is pretty catchy at the same time. If you see a book that say lie about your day, you know, that would catch my attention. What the fuck this person talking about? And then I gonna open it. Maybe that should be your first journal, bro. A journal geared towards um probably the most difficult audience to start journaling. You know what I mean? Which is men. Get our journal towards them. Fill out the journal with different prompts. Uh, do like I would say do like 365 pages for 365 days. You know what I mean? That could be the
good,
first
good,
project.
good.
So that should be out when, Kefren? When should that be out? When should we
The
expect the
better
light
job.
journal?
365 days. Well, we got January 2025. It's in
Mm-hmm.
the next few weeks. Yeah, man. Seems like about right.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, all right. All right to launch that, next month. Right, Kefren?
All right, let's get it.
All
Write that
right.
shit
All
down.
right.
Lie
All
about
right.
your day. Coming soon.
Mm.
Right. That was smooth.
Yeah, bro.
My boy Billy Goat inside of the place to be. He said, LOL, we taking back the phrase, all man do is lie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's fire.
Oh
That's fire.
Lord.
That's fire. That's fire. That's
Oh
fire. That's
man.
fire. We reclaiming it. All men do is lie, bro. You would sell out, dog. People gonna buy it thinking it's an actual book to read, and they ain't gonna know you are the one telling the lies. Start. Begin telling the lies. I
Yes,
like
sir.
it. I like it.
Yes, sir.
Nigeria say I'm calling the committee of women to come up with new phrases.
Yes. So we get any other things going on? That's all I guess I am.
Hey, this man, that's how you moving now? Hey, listen. I want to start. I want to take a
Committees.
moment.
The committee's coming. We gotta go.
Yeah,
Mm.
you gotta get the hell up out of here. But listen, I want to
Yeah.
take a moment to just point out some things, and I mean, because I know in the beginning you were very timid about the podcast. I realize your posture has gotten much more relaxed. I could see armpits and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's
So,
that's
my
crazy because
boy,
I didn't even realize that the camera don't show the same on this here. So like I didn't even
ah,
realize. But yeah, you're right.
yeah, you've gotten more relaxed. You've gotten better at speaking and talking to your audience. I just want to let you know, man. We noticing it that we see you thriving and growing in this area. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Mm,
keep up the
give
good
thanks.
work, man.
Give thanks for highlighting that. I'm gonna
Yeah,
journal
man.
that.
Boy,
I'm gonna journal that.
that cutter gonna be funny. Yeah, boy. I gotta edit some stuff for that too.
This is really crazy, myself. This is really crazy, man. Seeing you write
That's a
about that.
cool thing to capture. I truly didn't notice. So truly, thank you, Doc.
Yeah, man,
I did
for
not
sure.
notice.
But overall, though, yeah,
That's
like
important for me to capture.
that is a pinpoint that we could be like, yeah, you getting comfortable with it, and that's the overall, goal to keep this
Mm-hmm.
thing feeling
Rolling.
like ain't a job. Like you have gems, you sharing it, and you expressing it and explaining it in ways that people understand. We get people, like Dishan in here every live, Nigeria in
Yeah,
here,
man.
Sharwin coming here, dropping some
Real
good,
gem.
He,
so
Yeah,
he,
yeah.
we ain't got teeth that one day, Billy Goat. Man is a goat for a reason.
yeah.
I'd never forget the man was playing the saxophone. I was almost gonna punch him in the face. Cause my girl walking through the door. I said, man, you blowing that fucking saxophone out, boxing your neck. Don't be playing no saxophone in front of my girl, but man, I will uppercut you around with this man trying to seduce my girl. I remember when he was going around playing the saxophone for all kind, like people were like, I think it
Valentine's
was
Day.
like the Valentine's Day. I never forget telling him anytime I catch you playing the saxophone in the Gaza train, think my girl, get your one. My boy say, nah, man, I never do that to you. I say, all right, give thanks, bless up. Because man's can't play no instrument, I can't play no instrument, no woodwind, no. I barely even good in playing the drums, so I was like, I can't
Barely.
compete with that.
You say
Yeah,
barely.
man, I can't compete with it. So I am box him up.
Write it
Yeah,
down. Just write it down first.
write it down. Man. You better write it. Mm. Stick a moving. Pick out that thing. And then we used to hear Squidward upstairs playing the clarinet. You ain't no threat, my boy. You ain't no threat. My boy used to be upstairs. He used to be
Thank you
like,
guys for coming out.
where you
Thank you
going?
guys for coming out.
Where you going? This is the
So,
best part of the show.
Yeah,
This is
check.
the best part of the show. This is a roaster part of the show. This is the best part of the show. The chat turn up. Look at the chat. Look at the chat. The chat turn up that. The chat turn up. The chat turn up. Journal not an issue, but the chat them turn up. You know what I'm saying? The chat turn up that. The chat turn up. The chat turn up. The chat turn up. But yeah, man. Yeah, man. Today was good. Today was a good episode. Episode 3. You know what I mean? This was nice. Write that
yeah.
shit down. All men do is lie. Lie about your day.
Lay it out.
Coming to a
Inquire.
journal
Evaluate.
soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Lay it out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, lay it out, inquire, evaluate. Yeah, Kev. Once again, Kev, you did a great job. You did a great
Thanks,
job.
man.
Phenomenal. In delivering the information and delivering the message. Do yourself a favor. Check out some of our previous episodes. We're gonna have, of course, some cuts and some edits of the best parts of this episode coming out this week. But
Yeah. Just a
definitely
hard one.
look
She's
forward
saying,
to us.
Yeah, she moving
don't
nasty.
back. She want here early. File them. Whoop. No, no, Gentsia. We can't do that thing. We can't do that thing.
Yeah, nah,
We gotta save it for the
nah,
next
nah,
one. We can't just let everyone to.
yeah. Yeah. You never catch me doing that. I Gaza till I die. I get my dog and back. No about that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Um, yeah. Get ready for our next episode. It's gonna be next week. Kefren, you get a schedule for that. You don't think I will.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no. Definitely the next episode, we're going to be talking about Deshaun's next favorite subject habits.
Mm.
Habits.
Yep.
Habits.
If you
Right.
know, if you know, you need to be in tune for that conversation. Check us out. It is what, Saturday? That's what we
Yeah.
gonna do.
Yeah, man.
Saturday?
Yeah.
We might have to. We might have to renegotiate on Saturday. That's my daughter's
All right.
birthday.
Yeah. Stop
Yeah,
making
no,
what,
no.
7, 8?
Yeah, stop making 7.
Yeah,
Nice,
man.
nice.
More
Yeah,
life, more
man.
blessings.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
gonna
Yeah,
be
Big
man.
time.
the
Big time.
smartest girl in the world soon.
I don't
Yeah.
know about that, man. I don't know about that, dog.
Man,
But yeah,
that's positivity. Use all that street.
Yeah, check. Ain't wrong with this, man.
reality, my boy. You do not want the smartest kid in the world. That's not. It's not an achievement, my boy. That's a utter fail, my boy. That's a demise to your life, dog. You do not want the smartest kid in the world. But yeah, we're gonna have the show next week.
Yeah, we can
May-
lie, man.
We're gonna set it up. We're gonna figure it out as to what time it needs to be. But yeah, man, give thanks for coming out. We appreciate you being here with us. Do us a favor, share the live, especially when you come inside of the chat. Some of
Hit
your
that
friends
like
and your family.
button.
Yeah, share the live, hit the like button. Definitely comment inside of the chat as you walk in. You should be saying yo yo, you know what I mean? Hail us up as you jump in so we could start, you know what I mean, interacting. A part of the show is not just us here talking, just enjoying hearing ourselves talk, is actually highlighting the things that you guys say inside of the chat, answering you guys' questions. So we can pretty much showcase the intellect of Kefren and the gall of me. You know what I'm saying? So that's the purpose of everything. And just continue to show love. We appreciate everybody that swing through today. Deshaun, our top follower, Nigencia, you know what I mean, Mrs. James Saki, you know what I'm saying? Shawin, Billy Goat, even Caden the philosopher come through with some words from his dad. So we appreciate that. And we want you guys to continue to chat with us and continue to be here with us, even if it's just us. It's just us, it's just us. Let's enjoy it the most, learn from one another the most we can, and continue to move forward and progress, man. So give thanks and see you guys next week.
Yep, be easy.
Easy. Sign us off, KJ.